Today I have woken up in what can only be described as a little bit of paradise here in the Bahamas. Welcome to Half Moon Cay. Now this is a cruise line owned private island, meaning that if you're not on a cruise ship, you're not going on to this island. In this video today, I am going to take you ashore and give you a full island tour of this pretty remarkable place. Before we get started, if you do find the video useful and if you enjoy it, it would be amazing if you jump down below, give it a thumbs up, and come along with me on my adventure. Just click subscribe, that's all you need to do. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this island, and then let's get off this ship and go and explore everything that this place has got to offer. One thing that I should mention at this point of the video, because I'm sure somebody somewhere will have noticed, I've been pronouncing the name of the island as Half Moon Cay. However, after doing some research, it turns out the name should be pronounced Half Moon Cay, so we may go back and forth on that slightly during this video. Now, this island was opened by Holland, America on December 12th, 1997. It's an absolutely enormous 2,400 acres, and believe it or not, only 50 acres, or about 2%, of this island has been developed in order to make sure that the wildlife and the ecosystem on the island isn't impacted too much by the cruise line coming in. Amazing, isn't it? Now, we'll be going ashore today using tender boats. These are much larger tender boats than what you've seen in a lot of my other videos. Here, you can see it leaving from the ship, heading over to the island. You could either sit upstairs or sit downstairs to get some shade. If, however, you would rather remain on the cruise ship, that was absolutely an option today. Look at how quiet the pool is. It was absolutely gorgeous back there. It was also really easy to get a lounger. On all decks of the ship, there were ample loungers, so if you are planning to visit here just to enjoy a bit of Caribbean sunshine, there'll be plenty of space for you on the ship. However, I know what you're thinking, stop showing us the ship, get down that gangway, and let's head ashore onto Half Moon Cay, not Cay, to explore. It's time to leave this cruise ship, get onto the tender boat, and head ashore. The journey from Rotterdam over to the main docking point on the island really wasn't long at all. Within about 10 minutes, we had completed that journey from ship to shore. Conditions on the tender boat itself, these are not luxurious by any stretch of the imagination. You can see here, it's just metal benches that you sit on, but what more do you need for the sake of a 10-minute journey? Now, after a few minutes, you then make your way through this more sheltered section, and it's in here that the boats will let you off. I do wonder if in future the cruise line may look to build a dock here, because it must cost a fortune to be running tender boats back and forth all day, never mind the environmental impact of essentially running ferries constantly while the ship is anchored, going through more fuel just offshore. Anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Half Moon Cay. Now, I've told you a little bit about this island, but over the next few minutes I'm going to show you a whole range of the facilities here. When you first arrive, make sure you check what time you've got to be back. I cannot think of a more awkward port to miss your ship or to be late back for your ship than here, because wherever you would be literally looking at the ship that would be honking the horn and trying to signal to you. I don't think they could leave you behind here, but I don't want to test that theory. Now, did you know Half Moon Cay was previously known by a totally different name? The name that this place used to be known by was Little San Salvador, and believe it or not, it's rumoured that Christopher Columbus landed here on his way to the New World. Is that not absolutely incredible? That certainly is a fun fact in my books. Now, the next fun fact I have for you is that whatever you'd like to buy here, branded Half Moon Cay, you probably can do that. As soon as you get off the ship, you'll find yourself in what is essentially like a town square shopping arcade. I'm going to leave you to have a look round the shops, and if anything, have a bit of a laugh at the fact that anything you could imagine, it's here. Leaving that shopping area behind, you then follow these monoblocked pathways all around, and this is what then connects you to all the different parts of the island. The first place that I'm going to show you on my quick tour today is the I Wish I Could Stay Here Forever bar. Here you'll find this total Instagram moment sign, so please make sure you come here to get a picture taken there, and you'll also find the Lobster Shack. Now that's another dining venue that's available on the island. That one is chargeable, so you do pay extra for that, and you pay for everything on the island using your cruise card. One thing that I really appreciated about the island was that you didn't have to carry cash. You could charge everything here onto your onboard account. I know what you're thinking, the beach that's at this bar, which is the main beach, looks busy. This to me isn't my idea of relaxing, but bear with me because I'll take you to a much better beach just shortly. If you did want to stay at the main beach but you didn't want to be surrounded by people, then you could book a private beach cabana. Now they are quite expensive, so if you wanted to save some money, you could just secure a bit of shade by renting one of these sun shelters. All of these, you can book them from the shore excursions team on board the ship. Or maybe you're looking at these options and thinking, I want more exclusive, I've got money to burn, and I want to go bigger. Well, let me show you the private beach villas that are available to rent for the day on Half Moon Cay. I couldn't believe the size of these, I was so impressed, but that said, they come with an enormous price tag, so I'm actually not too surprised at what you'd be expecting to pay. Now I would also say, don't be expecting to leave humanity behind because they will come with their loungers and put them right beside your villa. Right beside the villas, you're going to find the On The Rocks bar. This bar is like a hollowed out pirate ship that's been shipwrecked on the beach. I really liked this. My only criticism would be that because it's a fully open ship and it doesn't actually close off from the elements, even in the shade in here, it is so warm. So you're not really going to get too much respite from the heat in here. You'll be out of the sun certainly, but it's still going to be boiling. Inside it is pretty primitive, but I can imagine if you're on a busier ship, or if your ship is carrying more people, or there's multiple ships than what Rotterdam had, then I think the atmosphere in here would be so much fun. If you don't want to relax with a drink and you want to get in that water, right beside the On The Rocks bar is the First Water Sports Centre. Again, you can book everything here via the shore excursions team, or just use your cruise card once you're ashore. First impressions of Half Moon Cay, pretty good, but pretty busy. If you're anything like me, you'll be trying to think of a way to escape those crowds. The only option we've got at the moment is to rent one of these guys, which very quickly turns into a very expensive day off the ship. But don't worry, there's a free way to escape the crowds, and that's what I'm going to show you now. If you walk along the other side of the beach, you'll find that you very quickly lose all the people. It's a 10-minute walk away, and it feels like you're on a completely different island. So let's take a walk along the shoreline, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, we are now 10 minutes further along the beach, and look at how quiet it is. There is nobody else here. and I've basically now got this whole part of the beach to myself, which is great, and it's cost zero. So that makes it even better. Now, it's probably not easy to come here if you do have young children, or if you maybe are a little bit more unsteady on your feet. However, if you're in a position where you can just throw on your trainers or your flip-flops and go for a walk, then absolutely you have to come along to this half. It is so much better. When I come here, I can instantly switch off, which I would really struggle to do at that really busy section back there. So yeah, big thumbs up and massively recommend. The loungers are very comfortable as well. So they are like, I sat on this and instantly went, oh, it's like a rubbery plastic lounger, which doesn't look overly comfy, but when you sit on it, you almost like sink into it. So yeah, I'm a fan. Now, since we hit the island this morning, we have spoken about shopping, we've spoken about water sports, and we've spoken about these beautiful, beautiful beaches. However, there's even more to this island that you could get up to. What we're now going to look at is a couple of different activities, and then it'll be time to stop and have a bite to eat for lunch, because yeah, it's not easy heading back over to that ship to get fed. So let's talk about what the cruise line do to make sure you don't go hungry while on Half Moon Cay. And at the same time, let's talk about a couple of activities. The next activity that I wanted to show you in this video was horseback riding. It really surprised me that we would be in such a warm climate in the middle of the Caribbean and people would be deciding to ride horses. Now, I am not any form of activist, to be very clear, but if you've seen my YouTube video from Santorini in Greece, I was shocked and, to be honest, quite appalled that people were riding donkeys all the way up the hill. Now, I might be mistaken, but I feel as though the climate here is way too hot for horses. Now, you do go through the rugged trails on the island, you then come down and you go along the beach, and then the horses actually enter the water. They go much further into the water than I was expecting, but this guy at the back just doesn't look like he's loving it. So yes, you can go horseback riding, but personally, I'm not in love with choosing to do that on an excursion in the Caribbean. Now, further along from the horse riding, you'll find the children's play area. So if you are coming here with kids, then you can check out this space. It's totally free of charge. And during my cruise, we didn't have too many children on the ship, so the place was deserted. Right beside the play area is where you'll find the sports court. This, again, doesn't require any payment, doesn't require booking. Just go on, and if it's available, you can play. Again, I didn't see anyone using this, but we did have quite a quiet ship, and it was a much higher average age on my cruise, I would say. You've then also got a collection of nature walks, which give you the ability to be outside, get a little bit of shade, but get a little bit of exercise as well. Or if you'd like more exercise, then why not check out the walking and running course? I'll show you now the type of distance that you could cover on that course. Personally, I really enjoyed the fact this featured on a private island in the Bahamas. I wasn't expecting it because I genuinely thought the main thing on this island was just going to be the beach. But hey, enough walking, I'll see you on a hammock. You know what? Considering this island, by absolute definition, is a tourist trap, there are so many places you can come and just chill out totally on your own. Now, I am one block back from the beach. There's a donkey here, which I'm hoping isn't going to come in and ruin this, but I'm one block back from the beach. Right there, it's just a couple of dunes that take you down onto the sand. And here, I mean, this is going to be the least graceful thing that you've seen in years, but I think I've just, hello. I think I've just found what could be, providing I don't get bitten by him, my home for the next hour while I'm going to have to try and get it. Okay, do you know what? That didn't go badly. We're out in the hammock. So I'm going to chill here for the next hour before we continue exploring this amazing island. Now that I've finally dragged myself off of that hammock, let's talk about food. One thing that's so impressive about these cruise line private islands is that when you have lunch here, the crew actually bring everything off of the ship to cater for you on land. It's absolutely amazing. Now the way that they do that is here will be set up as essentially self-service buffet counters where you can help yourself to your own food, and directly next door you'll find a bar. So if you would like to charge drinks to your onboard account, you can do that here. Anyway, that's the venue itself. Let me now talk to you about what happened during my stay here today. So let's talk lunch. Now, unfortunately today, in a very unexpected, strange turn of events, lunch today should have finished at 1 PM. So yeah, I came along here about 5 to 1, and as you can see, pretty much everything in there was not only not available, but everywhere had already been deep cleaned and reloaded back to go back onto the ship. So yeah, not impressed at all, to be honest with you, that lunch has finished significantly ahead of schedule. If you tell people that the island barbecue will be available between 11 and 1, it really has to be available until 1. You can't take it off at 22 and expect people to be happy. So yeah, unfortunately there's quite a few disgruntled people up there still trying to get something to eat but being told no, which yeah, I think there's maybe going to be a few unhappy faces heading back to the ship today. Now, I'll be fine. I'll be absolutely fine to go another couple of hours with no food, but thankfully I came here last week, so I can show you from the last cruise, because I was on here for 12 nights before this cruise, I can show you what I had to eat. Now, what they do is they bring burgers, they bring hot dogs, they bring salads, various other things off of the ship, and then they serve them here in the sort of covered dining area. It's quite a good setup. I think if there were multiple ships here, that would be a busy, busy environment if there were 5, 6, 7, 8,000 people in there trying to get food. But when there's one ship here, this area is absolutely great. There's loads of shaded, is the main thing, shaded seating. It's just all picnic tables, but for what you need for an island barbecue setup, it's totally fine. Now all the food here is totally included in your cruise fare, so you don't have to pay anything extra for the island barbecue. It's essentially the same food that you would get on the ship anyway, up at the buffet or at the dive-in counter. So yeah, all included, or you can head along to the Lobster Shack, which I'll have shown you earlier. Now, Lobster Shack obviously does come with an additional cost, and by now it's also unfortunately closed. So yes, my stomach will be grumbling by the time I get back on board, but it could be worse. At least I'm in a beautiful setting to be hungry. So look, if everything I've showed you so far isn't really up your street, then hopefully where I'm going to take you next might tickle your fancy. So I will see you up at the Stingray enclosure. Leaving food, or the lack of food, behind, let's go back to talking about water sports. Half Moon Cay has a 1,700 acre interior lagoon. That's right, 1,700 acres, it is enormous. On that lagoon you can take jet skis and various other boat trips that again you can book via the onboard excursions team on your cruise ship. I have to say, the water here was some of the clearest that I've ever seen. It just looked absolutely beautiful. Just along from that lagoon, and probably one of the reasons why I would never enter the water of said lagoon, is the Stingray adventure. Now, I know a lot of people who would absolutely love to go in this pool, however, I'm not one of them. Just standing at the edge of the water here, looking in at the Stingrays, was enough for me. What I would love to know down in the comments is, would you go in the Stingray adventure pool? Have you ever completed a Stingray excursion? And how did you find it? Personally, I'm not into it at all, nor do I think I ever would, but I'd love to know what you think. Welcome to Stingray Cove. Now, you'll have seen when I was walking down there that you actually could see some stingrays down in the water. And I'm here right at the end of the day, so they've already closed it off, and the excursions that were coming here have been and gone. And the man at the top of the hill there said, yeah, of course, you can go down and have a look, just don't go in the water. And I thought, honestly, I don't think you could pay me any amount of money to enter that water. Not when it's knowingly full of stingrays. Let me know in the comments if you would go in there. So remember, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about pricing for excursions going to all different parts of this private island, you'll find all the information you need down in the description of this video to show you how much it was to do various things while I was visiting the island. But look, from here, there's only one last thing to do, and that's to go and get the tender back over to the cruise ship. Now that will bring our day at Half Moon Cay almost to a close, but there's something you need to make sure you do once you get back on board your cruise ship. Now that you're back on board your cruise ship, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to grab a drink, whether that be a cocktail, a beer, a coffee, even a glass of water, and get out on deck to watch Half Moon Cay disappear off into the distance. The area around here is absolutely beautiful. The water is so clear, and from a wildlife point of view, there is so much to see around here. Who knows, you could be looking at that water and you might see dolphins, you might see turtles, you might see stingrays, you might just see fish. Whatever you see, it's going to be cool here. I absolutely love it. Now, let me show you what Sail Away has looked like today. I've chosen to do it from the top deck of this cruise ship, but if you're on a cruise ship like this, you'll also have a promenade deck down on deck number, usually deck 2 or deck 3. On here it's deck number 3, and that gets you much closer to the water, so that would also be a beautiful spot to sail away from somewhere. Let me show you what it looked like today, and then join me back in my cabin all the way down on deck number 1, so we're going to lose the view at that point, all the way down on deck number 1, and let's wrap up on today. Right, we're now back out at sea, which means it's time to think about wrapping up this video. Now, what I would say about that private island is one thing that you absolutely need to think about taking off the ship with you is water. I would recommend bring a reusable water bottle and just fill it up on here before you leave the ship, and then carry it with you when you go ashore, because once you're on that beach, it's pretty exposed and there's not a great deal of places to get fresh water. They do bring water from the ship and they put it into decanters in the lunch area, but if you walk any further than that, you're very much on your own. So definitely bring some water off the ship with you, and also take sun cream. You might have noticed that you're totally exposed on that island. There is a bit of cover. I reckon the older the island gets, the more established all the vegetation will get, and it probably will get much more lush. But at the moment, everything's still quite young, so even when you're on the dunes with the palms, a lot of the palms are only sort of up to my shoulder, which isn't at all what I would have expected. So yes, definitely take sun cream or a hat or just whatever you need to cover yourself a little bit, and take some water. To wrap up on today, what I would say is that the Carnival Corporation are doing a very, very good job with that island. I've mentioned a number of times in this video about my concerns about going to that sort of thing and it feeling like a complete tourist trap, and it just doesn't. It feels, in my opinion anyway, it feels like a private island. It's really nice. I'm a big fan. One thing that I would say is that, and I'll have alluded to it earlier, they're doing a really good job of preserving that island. So even simple things like the amount of fresh planting that's been happening there, the amount of fresh flowers that are being grown from seed when you pass the greenhouses, they're not going in as a multi-billion-dollar corporation, ripping it all out and starting again. They actually seem to be preserving it and really respecting the natural habitat, which is good. I didn't see a huge amount of wildlife today on the island. I saw much more kind of in the ocean. So it will be interesting to see if in the future they look to introduce, for example, iguanas and all that kind of thing. Because I saw little tiny lizards. I mean, I don't know what they'll grow to. But it would be interesting to see if in 5 or 10 years' time it looks totally different from a wildlife point of view. But I've had a ball today. I've really enjoyed showing you that place. It was a little mad running from place to place, but I really enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing what Carnival in Holland America's private island looks like. And yeah, let me know in the comments, would you like to visit there? Maybe you are already booked to cruise there and you've used this video to kind of plan your day and to see the kind of things you could get up to. Remember, in the description, I'll be giving you a bit of information about prices of shore excursions to go ashore, because some things are eye-wateringly expensive. So if you are planning to, for example, rent a beach villa, maybe a bit of financial planning will be required for that. So yeah, jump down to the description and check that out. And look, if you found this video useful, it'd be amazing if you would give it a thumbs up down below, because that helps to push my content to so many people who haven't found me yet. And again, feel free to jump down and click subscribe. It's always amazing to have so many more of you guys on the journey with me. So yeah, that is it. I am going to go out and explore this cruise ship. If you want to see more, head over and check out my other videos. But wherever you are in the world, thank you very much for giving me a little bit of your day. Have a good one, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers everyone. Bye. I really hope you've enjoyed this video today and you've enjoyed seeing a little bit of Half Moon Cay in order to get a flavour for whether or not you would enjoy it if you were to book a cruise going here in the future. If you did enjoy this video, then it would be great if you would give it a thumbs up, and also why not support my channel by clicking the subscribe button. Both of these actions massively help my content to reach more people and they help my channel to grow, so thank you very much. Why not come and join me in another video? Let me show you around in this video, Holland America's Rotterdam. I'll give you a full tour of every single venue to hopefully make you appreciate just how beautiful a cruise ship this is. I'll see you over there.